Government shutdown 2018, what we know so far. With the government shutdown finishing its second day on Sunday, the Senate will take the floor at noon on Monday to vote on whether or not to fund the government. Nevertheless, the full effect of the government shutdown will be felt Monday morning, as thousands of government workers won't come into their jobs as they usually would. The Monday afternoon vote is on a 3-week spending bill that would expire on February 8, 1 week earlier than the February 16 deadline in the House-passed bill. Senate Republicans and Democrats are still working to find some kind of agreement on a path forward for an immigration bill, which would address the status of people covered by the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program. Here's what we know so far. A bipartisan group tries to compromise. A bipartisan group of 20 moderate senators including Sens. Lamar Alexander, RTN, Chris Coons, DITA, Joe Manchin, DWV, Susan Collins, RME, Flake, Lindsey Graham, RSC, Durbin, Mark Warner, DVA, and Lisa Murkowski, Alaska, met this afternoon, trying to reach a compromise to reopen the government. The deal they were discussing would keep the government open through early February. The senators were also looking for a promise from leadership to take up an immigration bill in the next few weeks. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, RK, and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, DNY, also met around 5 p.m. this afternoon, but there were few details on whether the senators were close to an agreement. While Schumer blocked McConnell's motion to vote earlier on Sunday night, Republican leaders are starting to sound more optimistic about Monday's vote now set up to reopen the government. "I think the minority leader wants to just give everybody a chance to just chew on it and sort of understand it. So that's why he didn't want to have the vote tonight. On balance, it's better to have a successful vote tomorrow at noon than it is a failed vote," said John Cornyn, RTX, The No. 2 Republican, told reporters Sunday night. "I think it takes a little while for people to absorb what's happened here, and to get out of their bunker and hopefully meet in the DMZ and try to work things out. I'm optimistic." The general contours of an agreement, as outlined by McConnell on the Senate floor, would be a pledge to open an immigration debate after February 8, the expiration of the Senate's revised spending bill, if an agreement were not reached before. Cornyn said that they had not yet decided which immigration bill would be brought up in that case. Otherwise, the earlier hours of Sunday was marked by more political theatrics. Some Democratic senators attempted to introduce legislation to keep the government open for a few days while immigration negotiations continue, but those were shot down by Republican leadership. Senate Democrats and moderate Republicans alike are casting blame on top White House officials, including Chief of Staff John Kelly and Senior Policy Advisor Stephen Miller, for telling Trump to reject two bipartisan immigration deals, including one with $20 billion of funding for a border wall attached. Though negotiations have continued behind the scenes, Democrats and Republicans are publicly digging into their respective positions and blaming each other for the situation. Senate Republicans say the onus is on Democrats to agree to reopen the government. "I hope Democrats come to their senses and vote to open the government before the workday starts tomorrow," said Sen. Tom Cotton, RR. "It's in the Democrats' hands. It's up to them." House Republicans threw a wrench in weekend negotiations. House Republicans complicated this weekend's talks by vowing to not negotiate on an immigration deal, a must-have for Democrats unless a spending bill is passed and the government reopens. Senate Democrats shut down this government, and now Senate Democrats need to open this government back up, said House Speaker Paul D. Ryan, R. Whip, during a Saturday speech. Ryan told Democrats to come to your senses, do the right thing. Across the Capitol basement, House Democrats held their own press conference on Saturday to blast Republicans for refusing to negotiate and said they would not pass a short-term spending bill unless Republicans agreed to parity on defense and non-defense spending and an immigration deal. "I have said, and I say it again, that we are willing to go to a short-term CR if we have come to an agreement on parity, which is important to us. If we come to an agreement for an outline on DACA and border security," said House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, D. California. "We're saying these are the terms under which we'll pass the Appropriations Committee to write the bills. Then there's reason to have a CR. Otherwise, these could go on forever." With disagreement not only among Republicans and Democrats, but also House and Senate leaders on which way to go, Pelosi called on President Trump to lead in the situation and get everyone into the same room to hash out their disagreement. "He's got to get everyone in the room," Pelosi said. "He's got to lead. But so far, the Trump White House has sided with House Republicans, releasing a statement late Friday night saying they would not negotiate over immigration as long as the government is shut down. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, DNY, described the difficulties of trying to negotiate with the president in a different way, during a floor speech on Saturday. "Negotiating with President Trump is like negotiating with Jell-O," Schumer said. "We now know Democrats were willing to concede on a border wall in exchange for a DACA deal. Throughout immigration talks, Trump has been clear that the one thing he wanted above all was a border wall. This was the thing that Democrats were always least likely to concede on, but Democratic leadership has now confirmed that a deal that laid out funding for Trump's border wall in exchange for a legal path for DACA recipients was put in front of the president on Friday. During the meeting, in exchange for strong, deferred action for childhood arrivals, protections, I reluctantly put the border wall on the table for the discussion. Even that was not enough to entice the president to finish the deal, Schumer said. Leaving a House Democratic caucus meeting on Saturday morning, Rep. Luis Gutierrez, D.E.O., one of the most active members in the immigration fight, said that as much as the idea of a border wall pained him, he was ready to entertain the notion as long as it meant a deal for young dreamers. It's not about a wall. We'll build him a wall. Tell us how high you want it, Gutierrez said. But free the dreamers. At this point, I'm not supporting any CR that doesn't include a fix. Now, what I am telling you is, if that fix includes a wall, I'm ready. The Senate failed to reach a deal on Friday and a spending bill failed. The Senate failed to pass a short-term spending bill that the House passed on Thursday night. The House bill would have extended the shutdown deadline into February, but it failed to get enough votes in the Senate to overcome a filibuster with both Democrats and Republicans voting in opposition.